Well, let's go back now to the announcement of the Queen's address to the nation, which will happen on Sunday evening. And Victoria Howard is a historian and expert on royal matters. She joins us now from Leeds. So we know now, of course, that the Queen is going to be addressing us all this Sunday. How unusual is it for her to make this kind of intervention?
It is quite unusual, as you say. We're very used to the Queen giving her Christmas message each December. But there's only been 4 other occasions during her 68-year reign in which she's actually decided to address the nation. 2 of those were royal deaths, so after the death of Princess Diana in 1997, and then after the death of the Queen Mother in 2002. The other 2, one was actually a positive occasion. It was her Diamond Jubilee. The other time was during the Gulf War in 1991. So the fact that we're getting another message from the Queen, another video address of her trying to unite the nation, trying to give some reassurance to the people, that's really quite significant.
And just talk us through how this is going to happen. I'm assuming it's going to be pre-recorded?
Yes, there's been a message recorded at Windsor Castle where the Queen and Philip are currently staying close enough to London, should they need to ever get back there. But, of course, large enough and sensible enough that they are out the way, both being in their 90s. This message will go out to not only the UK, but also across the social media channels of the royal family across the Commonwealth as well, which I think is really important to mention because she's not only our Queen, she's Queen for a dozen other nations across the world.
And of course, the royal family has been touched by coronavirus, COVID-19 themselves, with Prince Charles testing positive. He's now, it seems to have recovered. He was there opening the new hospital via video link today. The Queen said that the royal family is ready to play our part. How important do you think the royal family is in this time of crisis?
I think it shows one of the strengths of actually having a royal family. Politics can be so very divisive. People are criticising the current government, the way they've handled things, and it always turns political, whereas the royal family, they generally can be that force for the good to unite the people. So the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have been talking to hospital teams to, thank them for what they've been doing, to encourage them, boost a bit of morale. And that's really where we're seeing the royals come into their own. That's what they do very well. And I do think it will make people reflect on the positive of having a royal family in the UK at this time.
And of course, you're a very close follower of the monarchy. What do you expect that we're going to hear from the Queen this Sunday?
Well, if you look at most of her Christmas messages, she's quite careful to not mention specifics. She is very good at touching on subjects, but not delving into them, but still coming out with a positive message. So, of course, we'll hear, I'm sure, about the deaths that have been going on and people losing their lives to coronavirus. And she will also, I'm sure, mention and thank some of the staff, the frontline workers that have been absolutely getting the nation through this, stocking the shelves and also medical care. But I really think we'll see a message of compassion. That's something the Queen really believes in, deeply rooted in her Christian faith, and just thinking of one another to help us come out the other end. Of course, she's seen many, many things across the course of her reign. She grew up through the Second World War, and I'm sure she's got a bit of wisdom to share with us all.
Yeah, certainly. I'm sure that it really is the case. In some ways, it's no surprise that the Queen wants to address people during this time of crisis, perhaps the biggest crisis since the end of World War II. Do you think the timing of it is significant? Why do you think she's chosen now to make the intervention?
She'll have definitely been taking the advice of not only her office, but the government as well. It's been reported, we don't have any solid facts for this, but we're expecting a peak in the number of deaths and the intensity of this crisis in the next week or so. And to have the Queen address the nation at such an intense time, such an important and significant event in this pandemic, I think that's probably it.
It's in the run-up to Easter Sunday on the way. Do you expect a bit of a religious tone to the message as well, perhaps?
Absolutely. Christianity is hugely important to the Queen. She grew up in that era where faith was part of your daily routine. And of course, she's also head of the Church of England. So I'm definitely expecting some religious undertones, but the focus, we might get something else, a statement, for example, for Easter itself. But no, the focus will definitely be on uniting the people. And if that's through a religious message, that might be the way that she goes.
Okay, Victoria Howard, thank you very much for talking us through some of those expectations for the